don't look different.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a review of Star Trek Enterprise, or I think it was still just Enterprise at this point, if I recall correctly.
Nope.
Oh, they added Star Trek in this season?
This is the season they added it.
Okay, I wasn't paying that close of attention to the opening credits.
Yeah, this was the year they added it, season 3.
Fair enough. So, Star Trek Enterprise, Season 3, following
Which,
up on our...
as I pointed out is before we went to record, when each one of these, when you hold up those boxes, they all look the same. They're designed to look the same.
I know.
Which means you could just be holding the same box each time. And no one would know.
I could be, but that would be a dick move.
Yeah. Yeah,
Here,
season 3.
does that make us feel better?
A little bit, yeah.
Get my booklet of episode listings here. Okay.
That's fine. We're not going for each episode.
No. I just like to remember what they were so that I can mention stuff I like. So yes, Enterprise Season 3. This season was really good. I binged this season in about a week, and I did not do that with the previous two. This felt like significantly less of a chore to get through with the Xindi War kicking up. It got more serialized, continuing arc through the whole season. It was really, really good. I enjoyed it.
See, I like this season. I like I said to you, I like all of the Enterprise series. And like you said, they've all been good. This season, I don't know how I'd rate it compared to 1 and 2, just for one reason.
Okay.
The other two, there was episodes I'm like, oh my god, they're like mind-blowingly awesome. They're the standout episode of the season. This one, I can't think which episode would be the standout one of the season, but I enjoyed its overarching arc.
Okay, I can see that.
So I'm like, you know what I mean? That kind of weighs out either side for me.
But yeah, it was just so cool that overarching thing, and the whole thing was told, we got to find the Xindi, we got to, stop a further attack on Earth, and how everything built toward that. And even when they were doing side adventures, it's still tied in, and that was really cool how they wrote that whole thing together like that.
Yep. It was all after that one weapon we saw at the end of season 2.
Yep, and the probe, and I like that they slowly find out. Okay, the Xindi are actually there's a bunch of different species of Xindi. There's like 5 of them. There used to be 6. They're building the big weapon. They learned about the expanse, the spheres, and the sphere builders, and how that all came about. That was all really good. They find a Vulcan ship that got turned into zombies and because of the stuff in the expanse.
I'd also say this season does something different that the other seasons did.
What's that?
It makes sense because they can at this point.
Okay.
The other seasons was about watching, okay, this is how all the teams... I'm boring, Jim. But no, I'm saying this is how all the teams bonded and got together, and this is why they're friends, and this is how their friendships are growing. This season was about driving as many different wedges into different people's relationships as possible. Like the episode where Archer basically gets corrupted by the eggs.
Yes.
And then you have Trip not wanting to go against him, but at the same time he's like, I'm gonna have to, and he struggles with that. Malcolm has that guy he just doesn't like, who I'll admit I don't like him either.
The head Mako dude.
Yeah, and it's like, but throughout the whole season, you're seeing wedges get stuck into all the relationships and just split them up, which is cool.
Yeah, they're putting a lot of strain to having people to overcome, personal conflicts and thing, which is, and even in more personal situations, like with the developing relationship between Trip and T'Pol and all the roadblocks they had to overcome in the building to that.
Yeah, but which you got them, and you also have the element of this season they questioned their actions a little bit more because there was more life or death with those situations.
Oh yeah, very much.
Like Archer with the doctor when he's talking about, are we supposed to? What would you do if it was something unethical? And the doctor said, "Yeah, I have done something that unethical before," type situation. And you have like, even when you have like Malcolm, in that shuttle just saying, no, there's no excuses for that many losses. And T'Pol's like, yeah, well, the needs of the many and stuff like that. And he's like, no, at the end of the day, an adequate loss is like 23%. We've exceeded that.
by a lot.
Yeah. And we do find out T'Pol is 66 years old, or 67.
Yep.
But I just like that element of actually questioning the death stuff a bit more.
Yeah.
Like they actually mourned the losses of when they realized, oh my god, every time we go on these missions, the people that die are anyone who's not us.
Yeah. And the fact that they make a lot of ethical, they have to make a lot of ethical decisions about who they're going to target and what they're going to do. Like near the end when they make it to the planet where the weapon is being built, and Archer orders them to destroy that moon base, and they're like, "There's a bunch of scientists on there. We can't afford them reporting us to the planet. They got to go." And they had to, and there's that solemn moment where they blow up the moon base.
Yep.
Yeah, there's
And
a
you
lot
also
of
had him actually disagreeing with the Andorians this time.
yeah, and interesting. The Andorians every so often will show up, but this time they have disagreements as to the situation and everything. So that was different, showing a little bit of conflict there.
He had a major one. He almost killed him.
That's true.
That's kind of major.
But that's because they tried to steal the weapon.
I know. But which like I like that, and you see this year you see Trip and T'Pol getting closer and closer because they're becoming a couple. You even see their
Yeah.
children.
Yep. I know the fine art of Vulcan neuropressure.
Yep. The weirdest one would probably be the episode in which Trip has the clone of himself.
Yeah, that was weird, and the ethical implications in that were ridiculous.
But it was a good thinking episode.
It was, yeah. And in the episode where Trip gets badly hurt, and they need replacement organs for him, or he's got a neural tissue, where he's going to die. And Flock goes, "Look, I have this unique life form here. If we apply DNA as to it, it'll become a clone of whatever the DNA is that it touches. I can make him into a clone of Commander Tucker. He'll only have a lifespan of about 14 days." But he'll become a grown clone of Tucker, and I can harvest the tissue we need. And they call him Sim for symbiote. And they basically, there's all the ethical thing of, is it right to kill Sim, who has become a full life form, in order to save Trip? When Sim figures out, oh, there's a serum that can slow my advanced aging, and I can actually live a full life, and he has all of Trip's knowledge of engineering and things.
Or, as he also pointed out, as Archer pointed out, there's no guarantee it will work, which is making it more unethical. Because they're like, at the end of the day, you could go to do this, it could fail, and Trip would die.
And so would you, and then we'd have nobody.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was an interesting episode, and very emotional too. They did a good job building up the emotions in that episode.
And he also has all of his memories of T'Pol.
Yes, but is his love? But is it Trip? Are they Trip's feelings, or are they his?
Yes, they're clearly Trip's, because he even remembers touching her with their intimate moments, and he also remembers the feelings he has for her at a young age too, and he's probably too young to really feel that.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that was a really good episode. What else we got here? Let's see.
Actually, that'd probably be the standout episode for me. The one where they change the future.
Yeah,
or the past at the same time.
That was a good episode. I enjoyed that. Even though they kind of did that in Deep Space Nine, it was still really good.
To be fair, they've done that type of anything that's been done in next gen Deep Space stuff. They've probably done in the original series to a certain degree.
True.
In Star Trek, there's only a handful of stories they can really do that are going to be completely different.
That's true.
But I like the idea of, okay, it's going to change the future and it's going to change the past at the same time, because doing what they do in the future erases the past. And I thought it was cool when you see Archer gets back on board his ship and everyone's become a captain. Well, not everyone, as she points out.
Yeah, that was a really emotional. I was really emotional. Really good the way they built up the story of what happened, how it played out. T'Pol's explaining it to Archer, and we see how she's got her hair down, and everything, and she's settled into civilian life, caring for him. That was an incredibly good episode. Yeah, I would say that's definitely standout.
Yeah, I really did like that episode. I will say, however, I didn't like the episode where they tried to do the same type of thing again, but it turns out they were just on board a Star Tours ride at Disney.
Well, in all fairness, they didn't posit that very long. That was just for the purpose of fooling Dagger so they could get information out of him.
Yeah, but it's that framing thing which, like we've mentioned, and we did ridicule Voyager whenever they do them. Of, oh my god, this stuff's happening. No, it's not.
True.
Where it's like, oh, it's just like, yeah, come on, we've been there for 3 years. Come on, we need to get back. And it's like, no. And you're like, oh, come on. It's just, that's basically an early holodeck episode.
It is. But it is cool that he pulls the same thing later. It's like, oh, we're trapped in the portal. We're never going to find the planet. You have to save the ship. Oh, we won't save the ship. Oh, the ship's okay. Hey, we made it to the planet. You'll never find it. Thank you for telling me it's actually there. We're not there yet. Put it back in the brig. Yeah, Tigger does make a valid point. Contrary to the fact that we don't like to use it, humans are incredibly talented at deception.
We are. But it's a case of, like I said, that episode, for me, that was probably the weakest of the episodes too. It's probably one of the weaker episodes of the whole season.
Yeah.
I mean, our whole series as a whole.
Yeah.
It's still not as bad as One Night in Sick Bay, but
Yeah. Yeah. That or how about that? I think that was where they bring the religious people on the ship and then they hold it hostage because the makers of the spheres are coming back.
see, I kind of like that episode.
That I don't know. That just kind of like, okay, I get the idea, but it's like I don't know. Something about it rubbed me the wrong way. I don't know what it was.
Yeah, but to those religious people, that would be a thing. And how many times have people gone out their way to do stuff like that for religion?
True.
Which that was kind of cool. The other stuff, another semi-standout episode would be the one that takes place in the past. Wink.
That was a good one. Wink.
It's not totally filmed in the exact year this was filmed. I think it was
Wink.
set in the same year this was filmed or out.
It was 2004.
Yeah, I'm like, that's kind of clever because then it's set in that time, and unlike say when Next Gen's gone back in time and they go to like, I don't know, Victorian England and they got the set piece. This is an excuse for them to film shit without having to really do as many set designs because they could film on location.
Yeah, I was like, okay, we're gonna film you guys driving in a truck, and then we're gonna film you in a warehouse.
Yeah, and the rooftop scenes.
And the rooftop, yeah. That was cool though.
That was cool.
Although I find it weird that Archer not only knows how to drive an old school fuel pickup truck, but also knows that what a fuel pump is to recognize that he's out of gas.
It stands to reason. His dad was all into old vehicles and stuff, as he's
that's
mentioned.
true. You're right.
He's read all about vehicles and stuff. So
that's right. I forgot about that. Yeah, he did have that expertise in old transportation. I didn't think about that.
Plus, it stands to reason. Maybe I would say it stands to reason that maybe they would have learned about stuff like because, like when T'Pol tells him the story in the previous season that she may have been on Earth years earlier. He didn't ask, wait a minute, what about that? Because they kind of know about the history.
Yeah.
Although, sadly, that wasn't the best time travel episode I've seen this week. that was a different show.
Ah.
Yeah, it was. But yeah, I really loved that episode. I watched it the other night. But yeah, basically, like I said, this season, the prequel series, you still see more stuff building. I love the team as they are. The only downside I'd say to this season, besides, like I said, there's no major standout episode. Like, oh my god, that's as good as this one, like as good as the bottle episode that they did and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Is
well, I think that one where they had that distant future where Earth got destroyed. I think that's a standout. That was really good.
Fair enough. And but I was saying the downside to it was. And I understand it, but because of the story around it, so it makes sense. But this season was more doom and gloom.
Very much so, yes.
Whereas the previous two had that original series hope about it.
Yeah.
Which one of the reasons I think the original series is better in a lot of ways than some of the other series is like I know people like it, but the original series, if you watch it now, it's kind of more enjoyable and still lives up more than next gen does. Is it has that hope about it where you can just watch and just feel good. And whenever you watched the original Enterprise series and season two, Archer was like this explorer. Everything was new. He loved everything about it. He was so hopeful, and you could see it give. You could see him being that hope that would bring around Gene Roddenberry's Star Trek.
Yep.
But now it's all gone, kind of. So I feel like he's. I feel like in this season he lost part of what made him Archer.
Yeah, and I can understand why. I mean, 7 million people dead. He's got to go through all this stuff trying to fight this alien race. I mean, that would affect anybody.
Yeah, like I said, I can understand why from a storytelling perspective, but from a character perspective, like there was a few episodes where he wasn't even featured heavily. Like
True.
this season, him and some of the other characters just seemed to phase out. Like they made everything more doom and gloom. Maybe so they had the excuse to get to Pole and Trip together.
Probably.
But the whole thing, like I said, that brings the series down a little bit.
Yeah. Also, we're talking about another great standard episode. One that I really enjoyed. The episode where they're going through this nebula and Dr. Phlox has to put everybody unconscious so they don't die, except him. And he's alone on the ship trying to run the ship by himself. And he's has these weird hallucinations, and then he's with DePaul and working with her trying to fix the ship when something goes wrong, and they have to turn on the warp engines because the field's expanded, and everybody's gonna be asleep for like another 10 weeks if they don't get out of there, and the engines almost explode when he turns them on, and he has to deal with this whole situation and being alone and everything, which Denobulans don't do. And he manages to get through it all and save the ship and everything, only to find out at the end that T'Pol wasn't even really there. She was unconscious too, and he was just hallucinating, which he had figured out he was hallucinating some stuff earlier on, but to find out she was a hallucination was a great twist, and I thought that whole episode was really good.
Yeah. Although you could see her being a hallucination way earlier than when he revealed it.
Her behavior was a little off. I was suspicious.
It was off for the whole episode almost, and she kept disappearing and reappearing whenever one hallucination goes away.
Yeah.
They didn't. It wasn't exactly sneaky. It wasn't like, oh my god, Bruce Willis is a ghost. But you had to Paul's hair's changed this season.
It has, and she got some new uniforms because she officially resigned from the Vulcan Council.
Yep. Which, which which, like I said, some of their looks changed. Like I think Hoshi had a new hairdo as well, or she looks different.
Yeah, I think she did.
Which that's kind of cool. Trip is naked a lot less than this season.
Yep.
Or well, in his typical stripped down to blue shorts and blue tank top-ish look.
Yeah, now it's just I'm gonna be shirtless with naked T'Pol every episode.
Yep. But it's like I said, it was weird. Some of the stuff that's happened in this season.
Another one I have to mention. How about when they found the planet full of Old West people?
I liked that episode.
I like that too. And the coolest thing was, I'm so glad that watches what I did with that North Star episode, because I've been reading the recent Star Trek novels that I have here. And in this one, a Gagarin shows up. He's one of the crew members on the Enterprise now. He's like the first Gagarin in Starfleet. And they talk about he's off duty and he's in the lounge. He's still wearing like pants and like a bandana and shit. It's hilarious. But he ends up saving them from a bomb. It's awesome.
He shouldn't still be in that.
North Star is apparently still Old West. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, the only reason I said that is like they said it was they were gonna evolve at the same rate Earth did, which is why they'd evolved at the rate they have been. I think I just lost Jim.
I'm here.
Oh, your video's gone.
Yeah, I fixed it. Sorry.
There you are. But yeah, I said they mentioned in the episode that they were acting like Earth did at that time, and if you followed from when they'd been kidnapped to then, they're evolving at the same speed that humanity was, so there's still hope for them to be like humanity. So it's weird that they just go, nah, fuck it, and just stay as the West. They should have evolved.
Well, so they can evolve in their knowledge and their customs. That doesn't mean they necessarily have to give up their entire lifestyle. They don't like technology. They can still be Old West people. They can still accept everybody and be equal and still be cool Old West people, hang out in saloons and stuff.
There's a reason that won't be canon, but yeah.
Yeah, well, nothing outside of the shows and movies is canon, but
Yeah, the reason I say that is even in the episode when he introduces them to the spaceship and their weapons, the guy in charge mentions how he always thought that they came from spaceships and he was learning to change. And one of the big things was he was now going to accept the alien stuff like technology back into society.
fair enough.
But I did like the episode, and it turns out that woman was part
Skagar the whole
Cigar.
time, yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, that's cool.
That was neat.
It's also funny
Uh,
how the story is basically aliens kidnapped humans to be slave laborers, and then humanity overthrew them and has made treated them like shit the whole time since.
yeah. That was fun.
I also give props for one thing in that story.
Okay.
It's clearly obvious what they're referencing when they talk about all the slavery and stuff like that that's happened in America and throughout the world.
Hmm.
They chose not to use someone of color throughout the whole thing. Like they were just, and I don't mean like, they're all white, so it's perfectly fine. I mean, they went out their way to make it so that you weren't going to see them just as black people, or you weren't going to see them just as this. So as a result, you understood what those people went through with slavery. A little bit is what they're trying to make you understand, at least a little bit,
Yeah.
in a more sci-fi way. And I'm like, that's cool. So it wasn't just about it wasn't it was about race, but it wasn't at the same time, which is cool.
Yeah. And we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about the end of the season, where of course they do find the planet where the weapon is being built, and they end up forming an alliance with Degra, the primate, and a couple of the Zindi species to go against the reptilians and the insectoids and try to convince their council that Earth is not their enemy and that they've been lied to by the sphere builders who've been manipulating them, and having to convince the aquatics and the big battle that ensues as they try to stop the weapon from launching and have to take out the reptilians and destroy everything in the finale. That was all really good.
Yeah, and since we're at the end of this anyway, and the finale ends with Archer dying, and then we cut to him unconscious, being examined by, you want to say, space Nazis.
Why are there alien Nazis?
Because
There's Nazis and there's an alien Nazi. Why?
because
What?
there was a season or two ago.
Hmm?
They literally escaped from a World War II camp. Where they had to convince some of it that they weren't from
Oh,
another
right. Yeah,
planet.
that other planet. Yeah.
Yeah, which means they've done that concept before in this season, and as we've
True, but
seen with these forces evolving similar, with these races evolving similar to humans and having similar conflicts, it stands to reason there'd be a World War II.
true. But at the same time, it's like this is Earth, and they actually have swastikas. So they're literal Nazis, and they're aliens. I don't know what's going on here. What did you do to history?
Why is there Wild West people?
Because they were abducted.
It still doesn't mean why would they have everything the same as the Wild West, and why is everything Wild West themed in space? It's weird, but
Like
that's one
that's
thing
like
that's cool.
that's like
Like
asking
Star
why the
Trek.
Wong family owns a ranch on Mars. They just
Yeah,
do.
yeah, but I mean, it's Star Trek. Like, how many times have they gone like in other Star Trek seasons too? Hell, there was even a whole film about Next Generation where they land on a place with human people with culture very similar to some of Earth's,
True.
similar dress sense and everything. It happens in Star Trek,
Fair
and this
enough.
happens to be Nazis with blue skull.
Apparently. Yeesh. Yeah, building that whole thing up, and that was a cool twist to end it on to really make you want to know what the heck happened.
Spoiler: Archer would have joined Hydra the whole time.
Oh,
I'm kidding. That'd be a silly twist to make your main hero suddenly reveal himself to be part of Hydra.
that's cool. It's cool. We'll just reveal that he was actually brainwashed the whole time.
Yeah. It's weird.
Yeah, it was weird, but there was just a lot of really good episodes this season, and that overarching story really drove it home, and the ethical implications of things that you have to do in a war that not everybody's going to be comfortable with, and that was very interesting.
Yep.
So yeah, overall, an enjoyable season. I'm looking forward to see season 4 and how this all comes together and what happened. I'm assuming that that they've altered history in some way with whatever they did. They're destroying the weapon. So I'm therefore assuming that Daniels is going to get involved, and this season's going to focus more on the temporal war.
This season 4, is more multi-part episodes.
Okay, that's
Like
fair.
it has my favorite one with the mirror universe.
Oh, that's right. Yes, I've heard about that one. I'm looking forward to that.
But my overall thoughts of this season, like I said, I like every season of Enterprise. I'm just gonna say that. I think this one suffers a little bit because it loses some of the parts that made season 1 and 2 as magical as they were.
Yeah, it definitely loses some of the luster and that innocence.
Uh, like I said, I don't mind. Like if this had been season 1, that's fine going forward. But it's like to use, since you like to use analogies on other properties. It's like I love Frank Miller's Batman,
Mhm.
and I love like the Dark Knight Batman film.
Right.
Everyone's seen the Dark Knight Batman film. We've seen, obviously Batman Begins came before, but everyone always talks about the Dark Knight. If the Dark Knight was a sequel to the Adam West series, that would just be
No.
weird.
Yeah, that.
And that's what I felt like, of not as dramatic as much, not as that polar opposite, but they took away all the brightness and instantly made it this, like they took away everything that was original series to try and make it next gen and stuff, and I don't know. For me, that brings it down a bit.
Yeah, and I can understand why. I mean, it was definitely a much different tone than it was the last 2 seasons, and that did take a little getting used to. After the first 2 episodes, I started realizing, oh, this is actually going to be this tone for the whole thing. This whole thing is going to be a lot of this dark, serious stuff. Okay, I'm gonna have to get used to that.
Yeah, that's why I think the season needed some like the previous seasons would be bright with a few sprinkles of dark episodes.
Yeah.
This one should have had sprinkles of light episodes.
Yeah, but I did like those little moments they did put in some episodes where, yeah, Trip makes one. The crew is, so people have died. The crew is getting haggard, and he convinces Archer to reinstitute movie night so that there's something for people to look forward to. Like those little things that they're going to keep going forward. They're going to get what good they can out of life, and that's kind of cool.
Yeah, which makes sense considering this is post 9/11 TV. It's all about stuff like that,
Yeah.
and I can understand why. But I just missed the stuff that made 1 and 2 special. But yeah, so like I said, it's hard for me to rate it with the other two, but I'd still say check it out.
Oh, definitely. I say give it a shot. So, now, Mike, we're skipping December for this review series. Is that correct, Mo?
I think so. I think we'll start up again in January.
Okay, so we will do season 4 coming in January. So make sure to join us for that when we wrap up Enterprise.
Only reason we're skipping, for people wondering, is we're going to have to do a lot of Christmas movies and stuff like that. So we wouldn't have time to watch all of them and all of season 4 and do all that stuff. I'm not in that one,
He's not in that one.
which is good when I said we and you hold that one up.
That's the one I had at hand.
But yay.
Indeed. So, Chris, thank you for joining me.
And thank you.
And we will see you folks next time. I believe next time is going to be, we'll see you this Wednesday for the final countdown, where we're going to count down the top 5 Power Rangers crossovers that we'd like to see.
Yep.
So we'll see you then.